Composition, the simple idea of how elements are arranged. I like to approach composition in three categories. In this video, I'll explain the three categories. I hand drew 33 examples so that you can see for yourself every concept that I'll explain in the video and review it later. It's in the description. When most people think of composition, they're really thinking about guides. The guide you've probably seen before is called the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds reveals spots on a canvas that are not too overpowering, but also not too underwhelming. If elements are placed with these points in mind, it encourages sustained interest because no one part takes all the attention. The lines are also sometimes used to split an image into parts, like a landscape or maybe a menu in a game. And while sustained attention is all well and good, sometimes that's not the goal. Sometimes you want to bring attention to something in particular, or you have a different goal altogether. This is when you can create your own guide. The simplest way to do that is with leading lines. Leading lines are imaginary lines which draw the eye down a path. Leading lines create a natural order to view an image in. They also appear to point towards an element sometimes, like a subliminal arrow. Using leading lines can emphasize one element, tell a story, or imply a decision. Lines that don't lead anywhere can also have a strong impact. Diagonal lines provide a dynamic and active feel. Flat lines provide balance and stability. Curves can be used to express a grand scale, lead the eye down paths similar to leading lines, or just create a more interesting split in the composition. The rule of thirds can be used in combination with your own guides to create attention-grabbing images that also benefit from the guides you created. And although guides are the most popular way to handle composition, they're not the only way. Let's discuss. I didn't really mean that kind of space, but let's go with it. There are two kinds of space, positive space and negative space. Negative space describes intentionally blank space, and positive space are the parts that are defined by one or more elements. By blocking out negative space, you can save energy not drawing an entire scene while also making a stronger visual impact in your composition. This makes negative space the single strongest tool to use when deciding on compositions, because it saves time and energy while improving the composition at the same time. Positive space can also be the primary consideration. If positive space surrounds a well-defined shape called a silhouette, the shape is recognizable as an element while also being surrounded by whatever you want. Positive space overload can be used to make purposefully overwhelming compositions. Some game ideas actually rely on positive space. Hidden object games, escape room games, and others may rely on using positive space to hide elements. Any guide on composition would be incomplete without discussing story. One way to add story to a composition is with the position of the so-called camera. This is called perspective. Are you looking above or from below? Are you upside down? The placement of the camera in unusual ways is an obviously intentional choice, which makes it perfect for expressing ideas. The zoom or scope of an image also controls what story is being told. Close-up scenes tell a specific story about one element, whereas wide shots give us a general idea about an entire scene. But instead of adjusting the viewpoint of the camera, the perspectives of characters in images can be edited instead. In this case, we are on the outside, observing someone else's change in perspective. Considering the perspectives of characters in a scene also brings us to another way of telling a story with a composition. Take a look at this comparison I found in Flow Studio's composition video. I redrew it because it reminded me of Journey. On the left, the character seems to have no purpose. This is accomplished by placing the character in the center and giving it a neutral pose. But on the right, the character is placed on the side and is facing a direction. Suddenly, the story is about this character crossing the desert. Let's call this action. Action can be as simple as having a character look in a direction, or as complex and specific as you want. But just having an action of any kind creates a story that helps outline the rest of the composition. That was a lot of different ideas I just fired at you. In the description, I organized them into a worksheet you can fill out to refine your ideas, and a reference guide to remind you of everything. And here on the right, you can click to see a live demonstration of how to best consider these 3 ideas before creating an image. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. It really helps my channel if you like and comment, and subscribe if you're interested in more. I'll see you in the next one.